Hej, mit navn er Aslen Iqbal. Følgende præsentation forelagde jeg ultimo november 2023 for min klasse på engelsk. Præsentationen måtte maks vare 5-10 minutter, hvorfor det ikke var muligt at gå i dybden med de forskellige emner. Jeg har her tilføjet lidt ekstra for at give mere indsigt. Jeg håber, at præsentationen vil inspirere dig til at lære mere om det britiske imperium. So, I've chosen to talk about the United Kingdom. In particular, I've decided today to talk about the British Empire. I've posed the question, why did the British want to build an empire? Which I hope to answer through my presentation. Before we continue, look at this world map. The blue spot are the British Isles. The red-coloured landmass was at one time a part of the British Empire. It was often said that the sun never set on the British Empire. It was that vast. Now, how do you go about setting up an empire? Well, there are 3 simple steps. 1. You locate land with or without indigenous people. 2. No need to go in threatening with rifles and cannons, just pretend to be merchants. Why not go with a name like East India Company? Sounds legit? No? 3. Now that you're in, you divide and rule. If the locals don't comply, you ship them to the nearest sugar or tobacco plantation. But if things don't work out, then as the saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. What that means, I'll come back to later. Right, let's have a look at why the British wanted to establish an empire. We can put this down to 3 reasons. For one, the British wanted to spread Christianity among the uncivilised savages. These missionaries refer to Matthew chapter 28, verse 19 to 20 in the Holy Bible, which says, "Go to all the people of all nations and make them my disciples. Baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teach them to do everything I have told you." The British realized that the colonies offered cheap natural resources such as silk, spices, gold, rice, cocoa, rubber, palm oil, meat, wool, and much, much more. Imperial exploitation and plunder, rapacity, and loot which are too deeply documented to be challengeable. Thirdly, the British wanted to introduce their way of life. Many modern apologists for British colonial rule in, for example, India, argue that granted the British took what they could for 200 years, but they did also leave behind a great deal of lasting benefit. In particular, political unity and democracy, the rule of law, railways, English education, even tea and cricket. Let's have a look at 2 of these. The English language. The British gave India the English language, not as a deliberate gift, but as an instrument of colonialism, imparted to Indians only to facilitate the tasks of the English. The language was taught to a few to serve as intermediaries between the rulers and the ruled. The British had no desire to educate the Indian masses, nor were they willing to budget for such an expense. In his notorious 1835 Minute on Education, Lord Macaulay articulated the classic reason for teaching English, but only to a small minority of Indians. He wrote, "We must do our best to form a class who may be interpreters between us and the millions whom we govern. A class of persons, Indians in blood and colour, but English in taste, in opinions, in morals, and in intellect." The Indian Railways. Governor-General Lord Hardinge argued in 1843 that the railways would be beneficial, quote, "to the commerce, government, and military control of the country." The railways weren't intended for the movement of people, rather they were principally intended to transport extracted resources, coal, iron ore, cotton, and so on, to ports for the British to ship home to use in their factories. So much for the British wanting to introduce their way of life to the inferior natives whom they considered being uncivilised, barbaric, and savages. One such person was Winston Churchill, who is often ranked by historians as the greatest Prime Minister in British history. While he is generally viewed as a victorious wartime leader, the man had a sinister side. His views on race and empire were abhorrent. He admitted that he, quote, did not really think that black people were as capable or as efficient as white people. As late as in 1955, he expressed his support for the slogan, "Keep England White." He said that he hated people with, quote, slit eyes and pigtails, and to him people from India were, quote, the beastliest people in the world next to the Germans. During World War II, Churchill prioritized the stockpiling of food for Britain over feeding Indian subjects during the Bengal famine of 1943, where up to 3 million Indians died. He stated that relief efforts would accomplish little to nothing, as Indians, quote, breed like rabbits. In one infamous memo, he stated, quote, I am strongly in favor of using poisoned gas against uncivilized tribes. He referred to Palestinians as, quote, barbaric hordes who ate little but camel dung. For those of you who don't know what dung is, it's shit. So according to Churchill, Palestinians basically ate camel shit. Astaghfirullah. The truth of the matter is, we can't credit Britain for unity, prosperity for the masses, and enduring parliamentary democracy. Rather, they dismantled existing political institutions, fomented communal division, and systematic political discrimination with a view to maintain British domination. In the case of the Indian subcontinent, the British left a society with 16% literacy, a life expectancy of 27, and over 90% living below the poverty line. So, when you have characters the likes of Winston Churchill with their extreme racist views, what do you think is going to happen to the empire? Demise. In the following 3 minutes or so, you'll witness the said demise of the British Empire. The yellow spots are the remaining relics of the British Empire. Just to show what lengths the British are willing to go to keep their overseas territories intact, Britain went to war with Argentina in 1982 to reclaim the Falkland Islands, approximately 13,000 kilometers away. The British have been yearning for the glories of empire, so what do? You create the Commonwealth of Nations. The head of the Commonwealth may be your king or queen, but her role is merely symbolic. Now, the problem is that values and goals, such as promotion of democracy, human rights, rule of law, will not give you the shiploads of gold, tea, cotton, etc. So what do? You turn London into the global money laundering centre. You let the drug lords, oligarchs, and corrupt politicians from around the world wash their dirty money white. If need be, you grant them asylum or even citizenship. One such scoundrel is convict former Crime Minister of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif. Together with his extended family, he has looted Pakistan through kickbacks and other shady deals. He has hidden some of the loot in secret offshore accounts. He has also bought real estate property in numerous countries, one of them being the UK. These 6 properties are just a few of which he and his family own in London. While in jail, he faked a terminal illness and was granted a short stay in the UK for medical treatment. His visa expired, yet the British government allowed him to overstay more than 4 years. Will Britannia? Thank you for your time and attention.